Welcome.
Awesome.
What's going on, fellas?
How are
Yeah,
you
how we
feeling?
doing?
Hey, man, it's a
Feeling
lovely day.
phenomenal.
So we just listened
Indeed.
to a chapter from The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, and it was the chapter on apocrypha. 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 What did you guys think?
Um, Speaking honestly, that's very true because image is self-described, just like anything else. We might feel that the art that we put out is hard, or it's whatever you want to, whatever genre you want to throw it into. But the same way that you're reviewing and looking at it, somebody else's may have a totally different opinion, and you might. So I think that's very true. So what do you speak about?
What does that word mean? I've never heard that word before.
I've
Which one?
heard it, but I can't remember the meaning. Apocrypha.
Apocrypha.
Apocrypha. Hmm.
Let me see.
I ain't gonna
Well,
lie, man. I've never heard anybody use it in a sentence before. Never heard that word used in a
I've
sentence.
never heard it either.
Yes, writings which were to be read privately rather than in the public context of church services. It's a biblical phrase.
Oh, okay. I
Not
wonder.
gonna lie to
Apocryphal is of a story or statement of doubtful authenticity,
Yeah,
mm,
which I don't know.
yeah. That's why they were. That's why in apocrypha they were saying they were to be read privately because there was doubt in its authenticity despite it being part of canon events or whatever.
So I wonder what that has to do with because the chapter didn't seem like it was talking about anything like that, but maybe I'm
No,
misreading.
I think I got it.
What do you get from
It's
it?
it's saying the whole point is saying don't let the comparison between your great authors and your great writers discourage you from doing something just because you're comparing to them and you're not on that level. It's saying you don't know that, right?
don't undervalue yourself.
Yeah, because it's like you're looking at you're imagining that they did all these things that really they didn't do. They don't even really know what they did. I
They
think
just did something.
so that's the reference, I think.
They did something and people received it, and you know you can perceive it or identify it how you want to, but they don't know what they did. They just did something. They didn't know how people were going to react to it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Have you guys ever made something that elicited a reaction that you were not expecting?
yeah. Honestly, I can't say.
Yeah,
Can't say.
I'd say for me it's I can't say it's never a different reaction than what I'm expecting. It's more of a difference in magnitudes.
Hmm.
Like I have a pretty good idea when I have something that I think sounds good or is gonna take somebody to this place, but then sometimes I'm like this is like harder hitting than I thought it was, you know?
So more emotional.
Yeah, more or less depending on the day, but it's like the general read's always right. The scale not so much, if that makes sense.
No,
Yeah.
no. For me, I wouldn't say I've made something, but I would say I've done something or I performed something in front of somebody or a group of people, and just me not, even being serious or me being serious, and I received back praise for it, and I didn't, I wasn't expecting it. I was just, playing around, joking, and they're like, "Man, that's crazy." I was like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I guess."
same. That's more what I'm going at. Like I was like I have a feeling sometimes where I'm like, oh, that kind of sounded fire, but when I get that validation, it's like everybody's like, yeah,
Hmm.
trying to keep it clean.
Tried to, I swear. You be with a curveball on that one, man. I ain't gonna say I didn't read the rules, but I didn't read that part of the rules. I put it like that.
Do you feel like censorship in music is a good thing, like having a clean version of a song?
There's a difference. Censorship is only having a clean version of a song
Okay.
because you can't do an explicit version. That I have an issue with, but creating a clean version of a song and having both options, I think that's great. I can't say I would do it because that sounds like a lot of work, but if you do it, more power to you.
I believe it's necessary up to a point because it's all about your audience, right? So like if you know you made that song specifically for this place of people and you don't care who else listens to it, leave it how it is. But just because you made it like that doesn't mean other people aren't gonna take it in.
Yeah,
So, little Johnny sitting somewhere in a room and his mom and daddy walk in and you're talking about something wild, buck wild, then you're gonna get backlash for it. As
yeah,
opposed to if you make that censored version, you know, they know what you're talking about, but you didn't say it. You just have to,
yeah.
get the gist of it.
That's like remember that old the Without Me music video
Oh, word, 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 word.
at the very end when Eminem shows up in the Robin costume and grabs his parental advisory CD from the kid. It's like, nah.
Word. No, man, I think it's necessary, because, some people don't like they don't like certain parts of what you're putting out, but they like the general idea of what you put out, you know.
I'd say like that's why I'm saying both versions is a great idea. But I think,
Hmm.
you want to go with your main audience and where you're going for with what you're going for with the song. You don't want to dilute it down to the point that it doesn't hit that for your main target audience. Like of the ones I want to keep happy. Like if other people listen to my music, I and having a version for them that they like is great. And I want to do that. But the more important audience is the main one for me typically because like
Yeah.
that's where I was going with it. You know.
That's like the Picasso. You got the Picasso up there, or a Picasso painting. It's like, oh, this is beautiful, and somebody just comes in and slings mud all over it, bro. Horrible. You just ruined it.
It's like it has no
You know.
soul now.
So yeah, I can feel that.
Do you guys feel that when you make a clean version of a song that you should change the lyric that you're censoring to another lyric, or just cut the lyric out entirely and have silence?
No, you never change a lyric. Well, you never change a lyric because when you change it, it just, I don't know. It sounds, and I hate using the word cringe, but it sounds cringy to me because you know
I,
what they really said, and then they throw
I
in.
disagree. I'm on the other side of the fence on that one because the problem is, at least with me, the types of songs that I listen to, that's a lot of dead air. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you got to
yeah.
change. Sometimes you got to change the lyric to preserve the flow of the song because if you just have random cuts everywhere, it kind of ruins like how easy it is to listen to.
All right. Have you ever watched a movie like on what's it called, USA, or one of those like censored networks in the
No.
daytime? You never watched one. Okay. You ever watched a censored movie? No. What
I
about you, Chris? You ever
I
watch a censored movie?
I don't know. I mean, how would I know that it's been censored?
You would know because as an adult person or a person that has a certain gist of what sounds right and wrong, you know when they throw that little word in there and it sounds totally out of place, like banana or horseshoe or some craziness like that. It just doesn't
Well, yeah,
sound like it
that's if you're
belongs there.
changing the lyric badly. You have
No,
to change the line to have it make sense. Unless
I
it's a
hate
challenge.
I hate watching a movie and then they change what the word is. I know what that word is supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's like, why not just bleep it? Just
Did
just
did
put a
they
little.
did they change that afterwards, or did they change that like in the script itself? And it's just like,
No. So it would be a censored. The movie originally was rated for adults, and
Yeah,
okay,
then
and
when
they
you put it on
derate
to
it by censoring all the scenes that are explicit.
yeah, when you put it on yeah, so when you put it on a family friendly TV show, they can actually show it now.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Because they say banana instead of apple. You know what I want to say, but you get what yeah, you get the gist. I hate that. It annoys me so much.
No, well, yeah, but that's different.
So how
It's
how
That's
not.
so different.
how would
What's
you
up?
Because
how would you do it?
I would change the law. Because like I'm talking like specifically about cursing. I would change the line to have the same meaning but without the curse word.
Okay. Yeah, no, I follow
And it
that.
would keep so that way you keep the flow because at least for me with some of my songs, if I had to bleep everything, it would sound like Morse code.
Mhm.
And
Man, you either blanket, you put a blank space there, or you let people know, just like they've been doing. Hey, you can listen to this, but it's for a certain audience, so you're more than welcome to listen. Just don't
fair
be
enough.
upset because I didn't. I gave you a fair warning before you turned it on, so don't be upset when you hear something. I told you it was coming.
No,
So
that's fair. That's fair. But what
that's
if
just my
what if there's
thought.
people that are new to you that don't know?
Hey
You don't
man,
get the chance to tell them that they just leave.
yeah, you do
They could have
because
liked the
there's
vibe though.
there's usually a stamp somewhere on something that lets you know what it is. You know.
Fair, fair, fair.
And
For
they're
You
all
wouldn't
they're
walk
advisors.
you wouldn't walk into a bathroom and just go pick up a bottle of juice and start drinking it. You you
so
you would just walk into a random room,
This
bottles
soap is
everywhere.
delicious.
Oh, this is great. It looks so scrumptious. Let me just pick it up and start
Oh, whoa,
drinking it.
what's this?
You don't know what it is, where it came from, and it's got a tag on it too. That's no. Let's ignore that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So I
so
don't
having
know,
an
man.
explicit tag is the way to go. And if there was
Yeah.
somebody who had a song that they wanted it to be given to a broader audience than censoring it, there are a few ways that you could do it. One of them would be to take uh, the entire word or whatever it may be out of
Not
the.
just the word. If you just do the word, it sounds really corny. You have to change the line so the word fits. Sorry, just had to jump in there because that's a very big distinction.
Okay, so change the whole line. So it's
Yeah,
like if you're gonna record it, you would want there to be a very clear, natural sounding line that replaces the censored section. Have
yeah.
you guys ever thought about censoring a word, let's say in a clean version, with something other than a word or silence, something else?
Yeah, but it depends. That's something I feel like you need to use really sparingly, and it's more for when you want to do a cut of some kind or change the tempo or the flow. Like
Mm,
like you like swap it with TV static, have the beat fade a little bit, and then swap beats there or
yeah,
stuff like that. I think is cool, but uh,
yeah,
sometimes it can hit with a pause as well if it's like a repeated thing. You know what I mean? Like if you
yeah.
hit like three hits in a row, then on the fourth one, but I'm not even going. Like
Nah. When it comes to that, you have to have when you're doing that, you're actively changing that word, and you know you don't want it to be what it is. You have to have some crazy ad libs, or some. You got to have a whole soundboard or something
no,
going
I
on there.
really like no, I like when they do it to swap with the flow because it either brings it up or down.
Yeah. So like that's like DMX, right? DMX was one of the most prolific rappers out there. Yeah.
But DMX, dude.
When he did his music, he cusses. He cusses a
Yeah.
lot, bro. So he'll
Oh
just like,
no, I'm not. I'm saying that's not a good way to
bro,
censor a whole song. I'm
bro,
saying if you want to have a specific moment at one point in
I
a
get it.
song, that's
And
it.
DMX was like he'll either like bark or growl or be a
Yeah.
what? Like something just random out of the blue. You know, so that's the only way I can see my way around it. Ad libbing. A lot of them. A lot of ad libs.
Basically, I think you need like a big change in something, like either ad lib or have a massive beat change that warrants the pause, or some type of emotional shift, something that like shows that it's not just that you didn't say the word because you didn't want or because you wanted to, but was afraid to say it, as much as it is using that break to then change expectations and change the tone. That makes sense.
Nah, I got you.
Thank you guys for joining. This is LEMUSIC, a music producer and artist idea conference where we talk about things in music and why they work. And we're just open to ideas. And what ideas do you guys use in your music that you would like to share?
Well, for me personally, I'm a horrible writer. So I know that when I go into a song, I need to have a certain amount of things laid out. You know, I need to have a selected instrumental. I need to have a topic. You know, I I have to have a certain amount of things laid out. I like to implement a plan. You know, have implement a plan and have them things there. So to make up for my inadequacies, because I'm a freestyler. That's what I do. So I have to lay certain things out in order to get to an endpoint.
How do you
You
do
know,
it?
oh, it's for me, man. It's a process. For me, I I have this like saying, if it feels good and it sounds good, then it is good. So me, I start off with my instrumental. I have to find the instrumental that gets me going. You know, so I'm rocking. I'm feeling it. I'm freestyling, doing little ditties while I'm listening. You know, and I
Little
go from
West,
there.
huh?
What's up?
Someone talk about Diddy.
Take that, take that, take that. No, we good.
Sorry, couldn't help it.
No Diddy, no Diddy. But no, man, that's one of my rituals personally.
Yeah, no, that's
Have a
good
plan
because I,
before I
I
go
don't
in.
have those and I never get anything done. So that's why.
Well, you actually taught me, Jordan. You taught me a wonderful, like, I don't even know. I think it was you that taught me this. That when I started doing studio sessions for people, and you were like the first person I did a session for, we did a thing where we'll start the session by having a goal. And
Right.
ever since I started
I
doing
know
that, ever since I started having a goal, like at the beginning, I'll say, "Hey, what's the song called? What's your artist name? And what's the goal for today?" And then they'll say, "Okay, I want to get some lyrics down, or I want to come up with a freestyle, I want to make a beat, or whatever." And that is like really helped me as a producer to know where what to do in the time that we have. And so I want to thank you for that. And uh, how'd you come up with that?
Oh man, first off, you know what I'm saying? No problem, man. Like me personally, I was in the military, man, like 4 years. And one thing they teach you is you have to know what you're doing. You got to have a plan before you walk in anywhere. So, you know, I try to implement that with almost everything I do. I lay out a plan, you know, make sure that that plan is something that's realistic, if that makes sense. Because we could set a goal all day. We could say, hey, I want to go to the moon. But realistically, how would you get to the moon? You know, does your gear work out? Did you make sure to check all your screws and bolts? You know, so that's where I get that from. You always got to have a plan, man.
You,
Yeah.
you're just talking about SMART goals, essentially. Is what they're called.
Smart goals, because
Yes, their
because
goal
that's
is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound.
right. Because think about it. Because a studio session is what us going in. You know, we're listening to music, we're vibing, we're trying to create something, right? How is that any different from any of us walking into a room together with no certain plan, and we're just all in there, you know,
Yeah,
listening? You know, that's the
Yeah.
thing that separates a regular chill moment to a session.
yeah,
Goals, you know, something you're trying to make it to.
yeah. I think I'm the only one that ever broke that system with you, Pierce.
Really? How did that
Yeah, because I
happen?
had like because I was so sporadic. I was like, you asked me for a goal, and I was like, I had like five different, completely different things, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this.
Right,
We didn't have a lot of time either because we were just like in between things. So we had like an hour.
Yeah.
right.
How did you feel like at the end? Like, did you feel like you were able to achieve any of the things you set out to do?
I think we worked towards one. It was definitely a style shift for me too because I'm like it's not in a like what we ended up with sounds really good, but I'm not used to it sounding the way it does, you know?
It was new.
Yeah, it was new, and I'm like I like it, but I'm also scared by it because I'm like I don't know if I can pull something like that off.
That's
Right.
cool.
No,
Do you have
it was good overall.
any other things that you've like used yourself, Carson? Like things in your music that you like an idea or a,
Yeah. The one thing I do is I start with a topic. And I don't mean like a broad like ranging topic. I mean something like get as specific as you can as far as what like in a sentence what do you want this message to like? What do you want this song to be about? Like what is the overall point? And then I'll think on that for a bit, and then maybe get in the shower, or get relaxed, and I'll write a verse that I want to tie into that. And then I'm like, okay, now
Like,
I
yeah.
have that starting point. Now let's go to the next spot. How do I start moving this towards the point that I want to make? It's a slow process that I wouldn't fully recommend, but I like some of the stuff I come up with when I use it. So
When you say slow process, like could you like tell the story of a song that you wrote, or tell the story of like what a typical process would look like?
yeah, so like I said, it's kind of like that stacking of you go in blocks. First one, I'm here at this point of where I want to get. Second one, I need to get it closer to here, so I put it here. So it's like you start changing the song over the course of time, but when you're doing it in different sessions and different blocks, it's hard to find a point where that actually connects properly, where it's not just a massive transition. So I find that's a challenge with that system, because if every time you want to like start changing it or you take a break, then how do you get reacquainted with where the lines before were hitting, because they're not as much in your head now, if that makes sense.
So there's separation between each verse or each section.
Yeah,
How do you like bridge that gap usually?
that's the struggle. That's the really hard part. I think about that for a long time. I'll have like, even right now, I was telling you guys even before we started recording, I have like four different, like completely different styled things for the same idea. And it's like I don't know how to connect any one of them. I'm not saying to each other, because that they're at the same point, so it wouldn't make sense, but I don't know how to connect any one of them to the next part of that point, if that makes sense.
No, I feel you. I feel you. But even though we hate it, sometimes that's why you have to walk away.
Yeah.
Sometimes why you have to walk away, go like eat some food, watch some TV, play a game or something. And get your mind together, because sitting there for an hour, 2 hours, and you're baking your head trying to figure out how to make something cohesive. You might end up taking something that could be great. All you had to do was just take 5 steps away.
Yeah,
All you had to do was
that's
go
my
walk away
issue
for like
though, is
5 minutes.
because like the issue happens whenever I do take those steps away, because it's
Really?
because when I'm locked in that state, you know what I mean? It's the emotions I'm feeling and the idea is hitting that much harder. And then you have to, every time you take a break, you have to then try and get back in that mode and try and recreate that.
Nah, I feel you. I feel you, because you might not be feeling the same way you felt
Yeah, and
when.
that's what I'm saying. The issue is with the system, is because every time I take one of those breaks, I've got to find a way to connect that piece in,
Yeah,
versus just having it be all one thing.
I'm not gonna
But
lie, man. That's most artists I know. Like people
yeah,
they start off a song and they're just like, "Ah, I can't finish this," and then you
that's
hear that next.
literally that's the case for like 10 different things I have right now.
Yeah, no,
It's like I have
I feel,
like maybe a verse in each one at most, and it's like I really like all of them, but I can't figure out how to finish them.
nah, that's the story of my life, man. I got a
What
lot of half done projects.
what helps you to like finish projects?
That's like that's a hard one to answer, because it's not. It has to do with the feeling. It's like when you get that feeling again, you're like, let me go back to this. But it's like I don't. There's not. I haven't found a way to really control that. That's just like sometimes stuff will sit for months, and then I'll be like, oh dang, and then I'll think about it, and I'll be in that same headspace, and I'll go back to it.
For for me, if I know I need to do something or I left something half done, I mitigate myself, or I make it almost impossible for me to do anything else besides what I'm supposed to be doing. So if I know I want to make this song, or I know if I want to, put the studio together, or make something, learn how to make music for the day, I make sure there's nothing that could possibly distract me or stop me from doing that.
Yeah,
There was one time I had like 3 game systems. I still do. I unplugged every game system, put it into a box, locked the box, put it into a closet, and was like, I'm not touching this. Not touching this for a week. I got stuff got to be done. Some, can't afford to not do it. So yeah, that's just me though. I know
Oh,
I'm quick to,
that's smart. It's a good plan.
yeah, because I'm quick. Sometimes my brain is just it clicks. 1 minute is music. 1 minute I'm outside grilling or doing something crazy.
Yeah.
So when you did that with the locking the game systems in the closet, what changed?
Not gonna lie, it distractions. You know, for the most part, bro, people are just so distracted. And me, I didn't realize how distracted or undisciplined my mind was until I was like, all right, let me go lock these games away. Let me turn my phone on do not disturb, get rid of Facebook and Instagram and see what happens. And you wouldn't imagine how many times I just picked up my phone randomly and was trying to go to an app
Yeah.
out of all the apps. And I was like, bro, is this what I do? Like, how many times do I do this in a day? And once I left those things off of the phone, like I had more time and I realized, bro, that's stuff I need to do. I should be doing homework right now. I should be writing a song. I got a 16 I'm supposed to be doing. I got an appointment in the studio tomorrow. I don't even have a song. I have an instrumental.
Man,
So
it's like it's like you follow me with a camera and just documented my life.
bro, it's real. Like so many people do this, bro, but nobody, people just don't realize they're doing it until somebody calls it out. Like, hey, man, it's 5 people sitting here and we're all playing on our phone and nobody's talked in like 10 minutes. It's one of those things. For me, once I mitigate certain things away from me, it opens up a lot more space, a lot more free time to be productive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And I'd say that's also sorry, go ahead, please.
I'm with you. I went off social media recently, and it has been very freeing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no.
It's been good. It's been good. I've seen a meme in a week, bro. It's awesome. I
It's
just
been
feel
a whole
refreshed.
week.
I feel refreshed. Yeah.
Do you miss the
Sometimes
Oh,
it's
memes?
good.
don't worry about it.
Yes, I ain't gonna lie. I like turning on my phone, bro, and getting that good laughing
Oh
when it's
man.
necessary. It's crazy.
And I was gonna say something and I totally forgot what it was. No, I forgot. I was too busy laughing.
Probably something we can't we can't put in.
I recently told somebody that they should find somebody that just makes memes and then just have them send them memes instead of having to
Right.
use social media.
Well, you need a group for that. A group chat. Yeah.
I'm gone right now at this point. I don't know why
Bro,
this
bro,
is so funny to
I'm
me,
telling
but
the
it
truth.
is.
I'm telling the truth, bro.
I know, that's why
It's the
it's so
truth.
funny.
Like you just social media itself, bro. You just
No,
things
I'm
that you
with
can
you.
do,
I'm not on social media either, dog.
bro. You could be doing something so much more important. Like and people just sit there and
No, oh,
just scroll.
I remember what I was gonna say. I was gonna say all the times that I usually find that inspiration, the one common thing is it's always time where I'm like completely like being by myself. Like forcing myself to be alone with my thoughts.
Yeah, that's real.
That's when that type of stuff comes. And usually, I think that's why it's so sporadic for me, is because that's hard to do. You know,
No,
just like
because
I mean, I don't know about you, but my head's got a lot of weird stuff in there, and I don't.
no, it's intrusive thoughts. Everybody's got them.
Yeah,
You feel me? Like, but my music became a lot better since I stopped being on social media as much. Because what is social media really? You're trying to create something, and social media is something to distract you. It's
yeah.
meant for you, something you to go through and play with to pass time.
Oh,
You feel
100%.
me? So when your brain is supposed to be wired to create and make something happen, and you can't focus, that's kind of bad, bro. That's like kind of productive. You
Yeah.
feel me? Like you,
Basically, I
you,
think TLDR here is A, minimize distractions, but B, force yourself to be just like if you're wanting to do something, just force yourself to only be doing that for a bit.
all
Like
right, bro.
focus on that and nothing else.
You gotta want it.
It's
That's the bottom line. You
it's
gotta want
interesting like that you guys say this because um it reminds me of in Rick Rubin's book he also mentioned that when you have a crossroads where you don't know what you want to do and you don't know like what you're going to do about something that taking a break and doing something else and then coming back can actually like, you know, add a level of inspiration or freshness.
Well, that's
And
if you
Yeah.
don't know what to do.
so in
No,
your case, you already know what you want to do,
I
and
have the idea in my head of what I want to do, but I'm not pushing the follow through enough. And then
right.
also like when you're talking about if you don't know what you want to do, I think it's still good to take a lot of time to think about it and then you can take a break, but it's like a all or nothing almost, I feel like you go all in for a bit, still not feeling it or aren't sure, then you take a break, you know, for however long you need, and then you go back all in thinking about that, if that makes sense.
No.
yeah,
I can feel what you're saying, Chris. Because what is art in itself besides an expression of something of an experience that you try to push out.
Yeah.
Like you can't make a picture of the sun and you've never went out and seen it. You never felt it. You can't. You can make a rap song, but if you've never listened to rap or truly experienced it or experienced different genres or artists, you might go in there and make an R&B song, country song.
but the
Yeah,
cool thing about that too
And you end up
is
with Lil Nas X, and then
the
country rap.
the cool thing about that is even if you've never experienced it, that might make it even better. Like
But that go ahead.
if you don't know, like you're right, like it wouldn't necessarily be the typical what you would see like a rap song or what you would see an R&B song. Like if you've never heard it before, it wouldn't be like it, but it might be somewhat like it, or it might be totally different and then better.
I don't
I'd
know about
say
matter, but you could
I
say
don't know about
you
that
could
one.
definitely just do your own thing and
We're at
try
odds
and
about that.
transcend genres. You could.
That's real because I feel some type of way about that. You can't. I ain't gonna say you can't. You can do whatever you want to do,
Well,
but
I'm just saying,
if you're attempting to make something that's rap, right, you have to have
yeah,
a basis.
that's true. That's true.
That's like
If you're
Mozart.
going out and calling it that, that's different. But
That's
if
like
you're just like,
Mozart
yeah,
or Bach or somebody doing a whole orchestra, and then this is rap. It's like, bro, this don't sound like rap. But the violins, but no, where's the bass?
hey, there.
Where's the treble? Where's the hi hat?
Some rap with violins actually kind of goes hard. I'm not gonna lie in a backbeat. Sorry,
I know it definitely
off
does.
point, but it definitely I see
You
your
get
point
what I'm
though.
saying. You
Yeah,
get
I
the,
got
the,
you. I
the
got you.
general gist of what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But you
basically,
have,
if you're
you
gonna do that, don't act like it is the genre that you're imitating or
right.
thinking about. Don't
'Cause
try and put it in that same box because the second you do, that it's like you're
I got
just
one better, right?
lying.
Just think about comedians. When you listen to a comedian and they're doing their stand up, what are they talking about? Something that they experienced. It could be real. It could be based off a true story, but they're giving you an experience of what happened to them, and they're laying that art to you to make you laugh. They're
Yeah,
making light of a situation that might have been good or bad in their life. But it's an experience nonetheless. So
yeah,
you have to have experiences. You have to be saturated in something to convey out.
yeah,
Because that's just my thought.
I think
yeah.
that's a
That's
great
why all the
way.
best artists are all traumatized, bro. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, but it's like best music, unfortunately, comes from bad things happening or just wild life experiences.
No,
I
that's
feel like
real.
I'm not saying go chase those, but
Yeah,
so
that's real.
I'm definitely not. To be clear, I'm not joking. Don't. It's a bad idea. But that is where a lot of at least my inspiration comes from.
Hey, Taylor Swift is one of the biggest artists in the world, and all she sings about is sad love songs. So somebody breaking her heart.
True.
And I and
And
I and I
all the best rap songs I feel like come from actual beef that's happening.
but that's a different story though.
I don't,
That's touchy for me though. That's
are
touchy
you a
for.
J Cole fan?
I am a J Cole fan, but that ain't what I'm talking about. It's
Don't worry about it.
no, that's something totally different.
Apologies are cool.
They are. They don't take away from him being a fire rapper. He just said, "Hey, I'm sorry,
Man,
sorry, bro.
I feel a type of way about this, but
I'm
we'll
not
let it
feeling it."
slide for the sake of the podcast. We're gonna talk about that later.
We got this, but no, man.
Sorry for bringing us off track, Pierce.
No, you're good. Everything's on track. Um,
I'm
I
sorry.
I was thinking like I totally agree with the idea that that you can get a lot of inspiration from experiences, and that's extremely valuable. And I'm also feeling that you could also get really great song from something that you haven't done. Like maybe you imagine what it might be like, or maybe you pretend that you've done it before just for the sake of being some character or idea that you haven't experienced yet. And that would be really interesting. Or maybe even like doing that and then doing the thing that you're pretending and then coming back and doing it again and seeing how different it is.
That's real.
Yeah, I feel that. But I mean,
That's real.
that's more of like rapping from or writing from different perspectives. That I'm cool with. I like that a lot, actually. I do stuff like that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. You ever heard this song? Well, I don't know. Y'all a little younger than me. You ever heard this song "Rockstar" by Nickelback?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't
That's
know.
all he's talking about. He's talking about that the whole
Wanna
song.
be a rock star.
And the whole song, he's just talking about what he wants and what he wants to do and
Yeah.
what he sees himself doing. So,
Yeah, and I've always thought about doing a song like that where it starts that way, then I revisit it like you're saying when I'm at finally like a time capsule, you know,
Yeah.
and revisiting it and then doing the second half of it in the future when I'm like comparing that to where I projected myself and all that.
Like two
Yeah, like it's
halves of
like
a
because
song.
yeah, because I always think about that like a lot of what's gotten me through a lot of the stuff that's gone on in my life has been telling myself that I'm doing it for future me and that dude better be grateful, you know. So like
Right.
then being able to have that and be responding to myself, I think that's an interesting idea.
Have you done that?
I've worked on the first half. I'm nowhere near the second half, man. That's gonna take a little bit. I'm gonna need to
mm,
be a little more well adjusted first.
I love the
right.
idea.
Thank you.
What about you, Jordan? Have you ever done talking to your future self or a different version of yourself or anything like that?
How not really. I, I'm more of a realist, me personally. I can see I can see where I could be in the future, but I don't try to talk to my future self. I try to talk to my current self, 'cause that's what I'm dealing with now. You know,
Yeah,
I
I
try
mean, I
to,
don't know how to describe what I'm talking about though, because it's not like I'm not like
uh,
talking to my future self. It's like I'm talking to myself about my future self. Like I'm like I
uh,
better be grateful or you know what I mean?
Yes.
Or
yeah,
or you'll have ones where it's like I see like when I have like a fork in the road on something and it's like I really want to do something dumb and ignorant, let's say, but I'm like I know that's not worth it, and I'm like I'm trying to steer myself in the right direction, even though I'm like, ooh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's another way I like to do it is like kind of viewing myself from who I'd be in both situations, like if I went through with it or if I didn't. And I think that's another fun way to like do different perspectives. It's also just a way I deal with my own thoughts.
I love that idea. I feel like that would make a great song.
Yeah, that's kind of something I'm working on right now. But it's hard to go back and forth between the two when you're trying to also be in one of the headspaces, you know? Because you want to channel enough of that to where you can do that part again, but you
mm-hmm,
also don't want to get back in that place as a
Right.
person and have to
right.
dig yourself back out another time because you're like, man, I need to get angry again, and then all of a sudden you're just too angry, and then now
No,
you're like,
I I can definitely feel that, but that's where some of my best raps came from.
no,
Because
it does. It makes great
as
raps. I'm just saying it
what
might not be great for you as a person sometimes.
like as when I got older and I started rapping when I was like around 14 years old, 13 years old. So
Mm,
like I used to draw on a lot of a lot of my older memories, and it
mm.
was like it was good and bad, but mostly bad. And when I would sit there and I would do that, it had passion in it.
Yeah,
Like I was passionate about it. I could relate to it. I felt it. The way I convey it out, it just felt that much more authentic.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
so
Yeah, that's
that's
that's what
just
makes it so hard, is because like for the sake of like you almost want to go back to that place when you want to like make a change or add something. But then you're
Yeah.
also like it'll make the music great, but
Yeah.
it's gonna put me like I'm gonna end up as a person. I'm gonna be in that place again.
Right. Because that's where you draw that. That's where you draw that inspiration from.
No,
You know,
definitely. It's just a
that's
matter of not being Icarus and flying too close to the sun.
nah. I feel that. That's why.
You
That's
know?
like what we were talking about earlier. When I walk into a studio, like it just depends sometimes. If my
Yeah.
plan is to find an instrumental that I'm vibing with, and I can and it brings something out, that's what I go with.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't just necessarily try to stick to one thing, and this is all I'm trying to push. You
Mm,
know? Sometimes you got to feel it.
yeah. And sometimes you got to pivot.
Mm-hmm. Word. I like that.
That rhymed, didn't it?
I like that. Well,
I didn't realize that at first.
Thank you guys so
yeah.
much for coming on and doing this podcast, the very first one. And I just want to say I really appreciate you for being here, for being yourselves, and anything that you want to talk about before we end it.
I don't know. I got nothing.
I don't got anything specific. At least that would be good on a podcast. I want to just chat for a bit if y'all are down, but that's
Let's do it.
just unrelated. That's unrelated to this.
Sounds good.
I'm just having a good time. That's all.
Nah, man. I appreciate you for having me, man. We made some history, right?
Yes, sir.
Your first podcast.
Very
LEMUSIC.
first.
Yeah,
Well, let's keep talking then.
I didn't mean on the podcast. I just meant as a
Yes.
vibe. To be clear.